Why does everyone in my generation care so much? Seriously, why? Us Gen Z seem to care about other people's opinions a lot more than any other generation. And we also try to blend in more than any other generation as well. I see this in myself especially. Every day I think about the opinions of other people, what they will say, how they will look at me, and what they will think. And it's tiring. This type of thinking is prevalent everywhere you look. But it's not only insecurity that Gen Z exhibits, it's also judgment. Through my own experiences and research, I've concluded that Gen Z is basically just a bunch of anxious haters. Let's start with an example most people are familiar with. TikTok. A lot of the judgmental content on TikTok can be seen toward the beginning of a new school year. I've seen so many videos that are like, next year, don't let me see those people who blank. And it's people who just have specific interests. Take this video as an example. As you can see, there are a lot of different types of stereotypical people here. But none of these people are doing anything wrong. And in fact, these types of videos are just inviting people to criticize and make fun of their peers without valid reasons. And making fun of others for just being who they are is always completely unacceptable. I'm sure that a lot of people here have experienced bullying in some way or another. So could we please have a show of hands? Who here has been bullied or made fun of before? Now could you please raise your hand if you've ever made fun of someone else? And let's be honest, guys. See, a lot of people here have been both the victim and the perpetrator. This is because of the anxious hater mentality a lot of Gen Z has. We're so worried about other people's opinions and judgment that we are first judgmental to them. It's a form of deflection. To put it simply, a kid who feels bad about themselves will make fun of another person so that they can feel better in comparison. But sometimes people who bully, they just want to fit in. But it's not the only way that Gen Z tries to fit in. I've also seen so many TikToks that are talking about what kind of shoes are acceptable, what kind of clothes are in this year, and even what sorts of water bottles we need to buy. Like this girl. I'm not saying that her asking for fashion advice is wrong, but I chose this example because of her wording. She uses we instead of I. She writes in plural, insinuating that everyone who's going to school this year needs to be wearing the same shoes. And she says supposed to, as if not doing that would be breaking some unwritten rule and would cause something bad to happen to all of us. This is another way that Gen Z is trying to adhere to other people's fashion standards and trying to make sure that we are all the same. Because of this, with each passing day, our new generations are becoming more and more similar to each other. And we're starting to lose our individuality and uniqueness because of that. If you're someone who's not part of Gen Z, you might be thinking, okay, maybe you have the examples, you have the slides, you're talking really on a stage of this red carpet, but this was happening when we were young too. And you're right. Teens are inherently judgmental, and they inherently want to fit in. But the world you were growing up in and the world we are growing up in is drastically different. Gen Z is the first generation to be born with technology all around us. Even the oldest Gen Zer, born in 1997, was born with laptops, mobile phones, and access to the internet. We have been able to put ourselves out there and watch other people before some of us could even walk. This exposure to social media and the internet is so prevalent in Gen Z's lives that some parents even use it as a tool to excuse themselves from parenting. A lot of parents, when they see a crying kid, their first reaction is to give them an iPad or a phone to quiet them down. This is detrimental to the kids' social development and can cause issues like heightened anxiety about other people's opinions, fear of others, make them susceptible to cyberbullying, make them susceptible to becoming a cyberbully, and make them unable to understand social cues. So, if you're hearing this and you're a part of Gen Z like me, or if you have a kid who's a part of Gen Z, you might be thinking, oh no, what do I do? Fear not, I have a solution. If you're trying to avoid the trap of following useless trends and becoming a cyberbully, you must first examine the way you use social media. And you should limit it. When you're scrolling on the social media app of your choice, you should first remember that almost everything on the internet is fabricated or simply untrue. Not only that, but when you're looking at trends that you find interesting or you like, ask yourself this: do I really like this? Or am I just trying to follow what everyone else is doing? So, if there's anything you could take away from my TEDx talk, I hope it's this. Us Gen Z, we're a bunch of anxious haters. I'm not denying that. But it isn't our fault. And if we really want to change anything, we must first change the relationship between young people and technology.